Live from Houston, Texas, the humidity capital of the world, it's time for Money for Lunch, where we feed your brain and your business with supersized portions of business and financial news. Now your host, Bert Martinez.
Okay, guys, coming up, we're going to be talking with Norm Blumenthal. Blumenthal, thank you.
Hey, Bert, Norm Blumenthal. Just to clarify, I represent employees. I'm an attorney, and I represent employees in wage and hour claims against corporations. The corporations are my adversary. The employees are my friends. Okay.
Gotcha.
And so
I'm glad you straightened that out, because I was trying to, I was looking at my teleprompter in what do you call it, the intro, the bio that I usually was looking for. It wasn't there, other than Norm Blumenthal, an attorney. But anyway, so I apologize for that. So I'm glad that you settled that. So workers are your friend, companies the adversary. I like this. Now let me ask you this, just as an overview. What kind of things have you seen in the last few years as we've gone through this recessionary period? What kind of claims or abuses have you seen that some of these companies have done to take advantage of other employees?
Well, that's a good question, Bert, and let me try to explain it so all you working stiffs out there like me can get a handle on what's happening here. The laws are set up so that they're subject to interpretation by the courts. So when the recession hit, in order for the corporations and the employers to reduce their wages that they had to pay, the first chop is you reduce your workforce. Obviously, you cut people out. The second way to reduce your costs are you reclassify employees that otherwise may be hourly and you have to pay overtime. You reclassify them as what are called salaried employees, and everybody's familiar with that. So, in other words, you can get a person to work 50 or 60 hours a week for a salary, where if you had to pay them overtime, you'd have to hire more persons to do the job, and so you reduce your costs that way. And
gotcha.
So that's the first step, or the first two steps. So now we're in the point in time where we have a lot of people out there, and I get emails from them every day looking for me to represent them against companies. They're classifying at the big box stores. They can run a couple aisles. They call them, under the executive exemption, they call them an executive for the company. And what the courts are doing is the courts are now very pro-corporation, by and large. Not every judge and not every court, but the edicts come on from on high, and it starts at the U.S. Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court is pro-corporation. These are soldiers for corporate America. They've been vetted at the highest level to be pro-corporation. And that's why you see cases like Citizens United, where corporations are people, which is something interesting, and they can contribute to campaigns. They've come out with cases you probably aren't familiar with, where Concepcion versus AT&T, where they're sending all employees and consumers into arbitration individually, and they can't bring group actions. My specialty is class actions and representative actions. Well, they're separating the employees, these non-unionized employees. They can't be represented by groups. And this is the kind of thing that they're doing to take away employees' rights. And they're also and it's getting worse. And the working stiff, like we are, it's going to get worse and worse, where they're classifying the assistant manager at a fast food chain an executive of the company.
Let me ask you this then, because it sounds like this misclassification is just like funny money. So what does this misclassification do to everybody or to the economy?
Well, what ends up happening is there's millions of jobs lost. So let's say that we instead of having soldiers for corporate America on the bench and in the Senate and in the Congress or even up and down the line, and you ended up, you had people that were pro-employee, they would have the law properly interpreted and properly crafted, where you couldn't call the assistant manager at a fast food chain an executive. You couldn't call a computer technician an administrator. You'd end up then having to pay them, if you just had them work, you'd have to pay them on a salary, on an hourly basis plus overtime. Now, if you had to do that, the purpose of the overtime law, the reason we have overtime laws in this country, is to put more people back to work. Because the purpose of a corporation is to make money. If you're an executive of a corporation and you're paying a person overtime when you could classify him as salary and pay him a wage and no overtime, you should be fired, because you have to do what's best for the company. My job is to do what's best for the employee. And the job of our congressmen and courts, in my position, is that they should also be advocates for the employee, because that'll put more people back to work. If the corporation were told you can't classify claims adjusters, underwriters, lab techs, computer techs, assistant managers, location managers, sorting supervisors, dock supervisors, warehouse supervisors as executives of the company or administrators of the company, that you had to classify them as hourly employees, non-exempt employees, there'd be 2 million more jobs in this country tomorrow.
Wow. Hey, Norm, hold on one second. I got to take a quick commercial break, and then we're talking about employees' rights with attorney and expert Norman Blumenthal right after this quick commercial break.
Tune in Monday through Friday here on Money for Lunch, and check out our website at moneyforlunch.com.
Hey, we're back. We're talking to attorney Norm Blumenthal. You can check him out at BAMLawCA.com. That's BAMLaw.com, or CaliforniaOvertimeAttorneys.com. Either way, get you some help. He specializes representing employees against corporate abuse. Let me ask you this, Norm. Excuse me, because you mentioned that you work sometimes with class actions. Is a class action a good mechanism, for recovery? Is it a good strategy for helping employees against corporations?
Well, absolutely. The answer is unequivocally yes, and that's why corporations are so afraid of class actions. Because what happens is you have that one brave soul that's willing to stand up. But let's face it, everybody working wants to keep their job and keep working, feed their family, and take care of their kids. And for a guy to stand up and say, listen, this is wrong, you misclassified me, and I'm going to stand up for all my brothers and sisters here, and I'm going to go ahead and be the representative. Without a class action, and the courts know this, the Soldiers for Corporate America know this. They know that if they eliminate class actions, they eliminate the power of the people, because the people can't organize in court. And we know that unions don't really exist anymore. They've all been ameliorated by the system. So the only union we have is the Union of the United States of America and our court system. And class actions is our hope. That's why in Concepcion versus AT&T, the Supreme Court, the 5 justices that are the greatest soldiers for corporate America, Herr Roberts and his men, that's why they eliminated class action recoveries, because they want to divide and conquer. An individual has no power in the court system because the corporation is not afraid of the individual. But when you can organize and you get together and there's 5,000 employees or 500 employees or 100 employees together and saying, look, we're misclassified. We're not salary. We're tired of working 50, 60 hours a week. We're tired of being on call and not being able to be with our family, and we want to have justice. Now, you're not going to get everybody coming in and do it because the majority of people are afraid of retaliation. But there will
now,
be
let me ask
somebody...
you this real quick. Let me ask you this. For some of our listening audience, does this kind of protection also apply if you're in this country illegally?
It applies to everybody that's working. There's no differentiation whether you have a job, you're illegal or legal. If you're working and the corporation misclassifies you and is not paying you the salary you're entitled to, you have a claim. We never
Gotcha.
ask whether you're legal or illegal, and a corporation, if they employed an illegal, they're violating the law. They don't have the proper documentation, so it never comes up in our work.
Right. Gotcha. Well, Norm Blumenthal, thank you so much for stopping by today. Guys,
Thank you.
If you need some help, if you think that you're being abused by your company, check him out and go to it's bamlawca.com. Is that correct?
That's right, bamlawca.com. And all I can say for all you working stiffs out there, that you should all vote Democratic because that's your only chance, and you're felony stupid if you vote for any Republican. Okay.
All right, Norm.
You have a great day.
Thank you so much.
God bless America.
All right. I love it. God bless America. Interesting situation. And sometimes people like Norm Blumenthal actually do make a huge difference, and they've rescued many people from really outrageous corporate abuse.
Tune in Monday through Friday here on Money for Lunch and check out our website at moneyforlunch.com.